If you were told to give up fruit because of your blood sugar, I want you to keep watching for the next few minutes, because that advice might be doing you more harm than good. There are fruits sitting in grocery stores right now, ones you have probably walked past 100 times, that research suggests may actually help your body manage blood sugar more gently than many packaged diabetic-friendly snacks do. And one of them is so ordinary, so unassuming, that most people never even think to ask about it. Stick with me, because by the end of this video, you will know exactly which 3 fruits are worth adding to your plate, why they may help, and just as important, how to eat them the right way so you get the benefit without the surprises. Before we go further, a quick and honest note. This video is for education, not medical advice. Everybody's body is different, and if you live with diabetes or prediabetes, the right choice for you should always be worked out with your doctor or dietitian. Think of this video as a starting point for a good conversation with them, not a replacement for it. Now, let's talk about why this topic matters so much, especially if you are over 55. As we get older, our bodies naturally become a little less efficient at handling sugar from the food we eat. The medical term for this is insulin resistance, and all it really means is that the key your body uses to let sugar into your cells for energy doesn't fit the lock quite as smoothly as it used to. Sugar can then linger in the bloodstream a bit longer than it should. Over years, this can quietly raise the risk of type 2 diabetes, heart trouble, and other issues that nobody wants to deal with in their retirement years. Here's the part that surprises a lot of people. It is not sugar itself that is the enemy. Our bodies need some sugar, called glucose, for energy, for brain function, for simply getting through the day. The real issue is how quickly sugar rushes into the bloodstream and how our body responds to that rush. Foods that spike blood sugar fast, then crash it hard, are the ones that put stress on the system over time. Foods that release their sugar slowly and steadily, especially when paired with fiber, are much kinder to the body. This is exactly why fruit has gotten such a confusing reputation. Fruit contains natural sugar, so a lot of well-meaning people assume all fruit should be avoided if you're watching your blood sugar. But that blanket rule misses something important. Fruit is not just sugar. It's sugar wrapped in fiber, water, and plant compounds that can actually slow down how fast that sugar hits your bloodstream. It is a completely different experience for your body compared to, say, a glass of soda or a slice of cake. So the real question isn't, should I eat fruit? It's, which fruits work with my body instead of against it? And that is exactly what we are digging into today. We're going to count down 3 fruits that stand out in the research, and I promise you, the way you eat them matters just as much as which ones you pick. There's a common mistake many people make with fruit that can undo a lot of the benefit, and I'll walk you through that a little later, so keep watching. Let's start with fruit number 3. Number 3 is the apple. Yes, the humble apple. It might seem too ordinary to make a list like this, but hear me out, because the apple has something most fruits don't offer in quite the same combination. An apple, especially eaten with the skin on, is packed with a special type of fiber called pectin. Picture pectin like a kind of natural gel. When you eat an apple, this fiber forms a gel-like substance in your stomach and intestines. That gel acts almost like a gentle traffic controller, slowing down how quickly the sugar in the apple gets absorbed into your bloodstream. Instead of a sudden spike, your body gets a slower, steadier release of energy. There's also something called polyphenols in apples, especially concentrated in the skin. Polyphenols are natural plant compounds that research has linked to better blood sugar regulation. Some studies suggest they may help the body use insulin more effectively, though scientists are still working out exactly how much of an effect this has in everyday eating, so it's important not to overstate it. What we can say with more confidence is that whole apples, fiber and all, behave very differently in the body than apple juice or applesauce with no fiber left in it. Here's a relatable way to think about it. Imagine drinking a glass of apple juice on an empty stomach versus eating a whole, crisp apple. The juice is like opening a floodgate. Sugar rushes in fast because the fiber has been removed during processing. The whole apple is more like a slow, steady stream. Same fruit, very different experience for your blood sugar. Now here's a practical tip. If you enjoy apples, Try to eat them with the skin on, since a lot of the fiber and polyphenols live right there. Pairing an apple with a small handful of nuts or a spoonful of peanut butter can slow down sugar absorption even further because the protein and healthy fat add even more of a buffer. It's also worth remembering that portion matters. One medium apple is a reasonable serving. Eating several in one sitting, even though they're healthy, can still add up in natural sugar. One more thing before we move to fruit number 2. A lot of people assume that because an apple tastes sweet, it must be bad for blood sugar. But taste is not always a reliable guide. Some fruits that taste less sweet can actually have a bigger impact on blood sugar than fruits that taste sweeter, simply because of how much fiber and water they contain. Keep that in mind because it becomes very relevant with our next fruit. Let's move to fruit number 2, and this one might surprise you. Berries, particularly blueberries, strawberries, and blackberries. If you've ever wondered why so many nutrition experts seem to love berries, here's the simple version. Berries are low in overall sugar compared to many other fruits, yet they are packed with fiber and a group of plant compounds called anthocyanins. Anthocyanins are the natural pigments that give berries their deep blue, red, and purple colors. Beyond just looking beautiful, these compounds have been studied for their potential role in improving how the body responds to insulin. Here's an example that might make this easier to picture. Think of your blood sugar system like a busy office, where insulin is the manager trying to direct sugar to where it needs to go efficiently. Insulin resistance is like that manager slowly losing authority. The workers, meaning your cells, stop listening as quickly. Some research suggests the compounds in berries may help support the manager's authority, so to speak, helping insulin do its job a little more effectively. It's not a magic fix, but every bit of support matters over time. Berries also have a particularly high fiber-to-sugar ratio compared to many other fruits. A cup of blueberries, for example, has a meaningful amount of fiber, which helps slow sugar absorption while containing less overall sugar than many other fruit options of the same size. That combination, high fiber, moderate sugar, is exactly the profile that tends to be gentler on blood sugar. There's something else worth mentioning. Frozen berries are just as nutritious as fresh ones, sometimes even more convenient, since they're frozen at peak ripeness. If fresh berries feel expensive or hard to keep on hand, a bag of frozen mixed berries in the freezer is a completely reasonable and often more affordable option. Just be cautious with anything labeled berry mix with syrup or sweetened dried berries, since added sugar changes the picture completely. Always take a moment to check the label if you're buying something pre-made. A practical way to enjoy berries is adding a handful to plain yogurt, oatmeal, or even a simple side dish at breakfast. Because they're naturally sweet, they can also help satisfy a sweet craving without needing added sugar or syrup. Many people find that once they build the habit of having berries around, they reach for them instead of more processed sweets, which is a small shift that can make a real difference over months and years. Now, before we get to fruit number 1, I mentioned earlier that there's a common mistake people make with fruit, one that can undo a lot of these benefits no matter which fruit you choose. Here it is. The mistake is eating fruit completely on its own, on an empty stomach, especially in the morning, and especially in large amounts. Even fruits with a lower impact on blood sugar can cause more of a spike when they're eaten alone with nothing else in your stomach to slow digestion down. This is why pairing fruit with a small amount of protein or healthy fat like a few almonds, a spoonful of nut butter, plain yogurt, or even a boiled egg on the side can make such a meaningful difference. It's a simple habit, but it's one that a lot of people never think to apply. All right, let's get to fruit number 1, the one that might genuinely surprise you. Fruit number 1 is the avocado. Now, some of you might be thinking, wait, isn't avocado more of a vegetable in the way we use it? Botanically, avocado is actually a fruit, and it stands out on this list for a very good reason. It is one of the few fruits that is naturally very low in sugar while being rich in healthy fats and fiber. Here's why that matters so much. Most fruits get their gentle on blood sugar reputation because of fiber balancing out natural sugar. Avocado takes this even further because it has very little sugar to begin with, alongside a good amount of fiber and heart-healthy monounsaturated fat, the same type of fat found in olive oil. This combination means avocado has a minimal direct effect on blood sugar by itself, and some research even suggests that eating avocado alongside other foods may help blunt the blood sugar response to those other foods. Think of it like this: if sugar rushing into the bloodstream is like cars merging quickly onto a highway, avocado is like a fiber and fat-filled toll booth, slowing the traffic down to a manageable pace before it merges in. When people add avocado to a meal, whether it's mashed on whole grain toast, sliced into a salad, or added to eggs, they often notice a steadier, more comfortable energy level afterward instead of a spike and crash. There is another benefit worth mentioning. The healthy fats in avocado support the body's ability to absorb certain vitamins from other foods, and they play a role in heart health, which matters enormously for older adults. Since heart disease and blood sugar problems are so closely connected, managing one often supports the other. A practical way to add avocado to your routine without overdoing it, since it is higher in calories than most fruits, is to use about a quarter to a half of an avocado at a time. Try it mashed with a little lemon juice and pepper on whole grain toast, sliced into a lunch salad, or blended into a smoothie for creaminess without needing added sugar. If you've never really thought of avocado as a blood sugar-friendly food before, this might be exactly the kind of surprising point I mentioned earlier in the video. So let's bring this all together with a quick recap, because I know we've covered quite a bit. Fruit number 3 was the apple, valued for its pectin fiber and polyphenols that may help slow sugar absorption, especially when eaten whole with the skin on. Fruit number 2 was berries, particularly blueberries, strawberries, and blackberries, standing out for their high fiber-to-sugar ratio and the anthocyanins that may support how the body responds to insulin. And fruit number 1 was the avocado, a fruit low in sugar and rich in fiber and healthy fat, which may help create a steadier blood sugar response, especially when paired with other foods. The bigger lesson underneath all three of these is this: it's not about fearing fruit, it's about choosing thoughtfully and eating smartly. Whole fruit with the fiber intact, reasonable portions, and pairing fruit with a bit of protein or healthy fat, these small habits can make a real, meaningful difference over time. If you or someone you love is managing diabetes or prediabetes, please remember that individual needs vary quite a lot. What works well for one person may need to be adjusted for another, depending on medications, other health conditions, and how your particular body responds. A conversation with your doctor or a registered dietitian can help you figure out the right portions and combinations for your specific situation. This video is meant to give you a solid, well-informed starting point for that conversation, not a substitute for it. Before you go, I would genuinely love to hear from you. Which of these 3 fruits surprised you the most? Was it the everyday apple, the berries you might already have in your fridge, or was it the avocado, showing up on a list you didn't expect? Drop a comment and let me know, and if you feel comfortable sharing, tell us your age or where you're watching from. It's always wonderful to see just how many different places and backgrounds our community comes from. If you have your own experience with any of these fruits and blood sugar, whether it went well or taught you something the hard way, we would love to hear that too, so others watching can learn from your experience as well. If this video gave you something useful to think about today, consider sharing it with a friend or family member who might benefit from it too. Sometimes the simplest piece of information at the right moment can make a real difference in someone's daily habits. Thank you so much for spending this time with me today. Take care of yourself, be kind to your body, and I'll see you in the next video.